Back in 2023, we had 7 months of consolidation, and with that 7 months of consolidation, we ranged in a fairly tight price range. This was 22%. Right now, we've been in a price range that stretches 22%, and we had, from entering this price range until leaving this price range, we had 220 days of sideways. Okay, we had 220 days of sideways. When we left this sideways range, it was the same fucking span. It was 22%. I mean, so similar. And the breakout from the low was a 200% move. Okay, that's what we saw last time. So again, a plus 200% gain means a 3 times increase. And obviously you can do the math. 25k up to 74k, that's a 200% increase. I'm sorry, 3 times gain. And so far, we've got the same range again in terms of like how big it is. It's about 22%. And since we've entered this range, it has been just over 100 days, about 105 days, 106 days. So previously it was 220. Now it's 105, 110, let's say, right? So we're doing about half of the time. And, just as a fun thought experiment, let's say Bitcoin only gets half of the breakout, right? So before, it was a 200% move. Let's say from this low, we only move up by 100%. Okay, so that means we double. So 100% up from here puts us at $120,000, right? And that's if we only produce half of the gain that we saw last time. Here's the kicker. Here's the crazy thing, okay? So far, hopefully what I'm saying is making sense and you're actually following me, because I think this is pretty easy to understand. We were sideways for 220 days. Now we're sideways for 110 days. Both ranges span the same height. They're both 22, 21%. When we got that breakout, we went up by 200%. Let's say we get the breakout now, we only go up by 100%. We're at 120k, okay? I think that makes a lot of sense. If it doesn't, let me know in the live chat and I'll clarify again. But here's the kicker. Here's the crazy part. Last time, when Bitcoin got this breakout, look at how much resistance Bitcoin had to deal with. All right, look at how much price action Bitcoin had in its history that it had to deal with as resistance. There was so much resistance on this chart after the breakout. And we can look at this slightly differently, by the way, right? We can actually, the numbers are going to work out exactly the same. From the breakout point to the high, we were up by 140%. So from this high to this target, we're up by 63%. So again, it's roughly half. So if we produce, only half of the move that we saw last time, what we also need to keep in mind is that this time, we're doing it with no resistance up ahead. Bitcoin has never traded in this range. When we had a lot of resistance all over here, we had a lot of reasons to expect that Bitcoin is going to struggle in this range. And it kind of did, but not really. It actually did really well. This time, we will have no resistance. Bitcoin has never traded here, And I think that's a really important point, that you can actually get a lot more aggressive with this stuff and it doesn't even start sounding stupid for quite some time. From here, if we pull off the same move that we've done, up by 200%, that puts us here at about 170, let's say. And it just makes so much sense that this is achievable, because last time we had resistance, this time we don't, And so to me, that's a really strong point that potentially indicates that we could be looking at a big breakout to come. And I think that is so important in this market. To be able to trade it, there's massive gains that can be made. And of course, you already know the deal. You've got to make sure that you're doing that with the right exchange partner. Blowfin, linked below right here, is going to give you thousands of dollars in bonuses when you sign up using my link. And it's a no KYC platform, meaning that you don't need to use your ID or a picture of yourself. They're just going to let you to trade. It takes less than I made a tutorial on it, and when I was recording the tutorial, it took me less than 2 minutes to go from sign up to deposit being credited and I'm ready to trade. I was able to make a trade within literally 2 minutes. It was actually shocking how fast it was. And you will get bonuses paid out based off your trading, so that is super cool. Definitely well worth checking out in this market if you're interested in free cash bonuses to kind of accelerate your trading journey. That's exactly what they're offering there. Super cool. Well worth checking out. Now, back to this market. Again, if we're looking at a nice kind of breakout coming, then we've got a very similar setup. And I think that it definitely is looking quite promising from those perspectives there. This is the key level that we've got to reclaim now. It's been pretty heavy resistance. So I was saying, you don't really want to see the price dropping below it. Unfortunately, it's happened now anyway. We still haven't got the daily close. So that's one of the key things I want to talk to you about. There are still 6 hours at the time of this live stream right now. There are still 6 hours left until this daily candle closes. So, that's plenty of time. There's still, a good 2.5 hours until the S&P 500 stops trading. So, that's also something that's worth talking about. Again, we'll get back to that in just a bit. But yeah, I think, it's not all over. We didn't get that daily close yet. We didn't even get the weekly close yet. So, I don't want to start overreacting. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, it definitely could be resistance up ahead now at 67K. So we're going to have to see how this behaves for Bitcoin. If it does turn out to be resistance, then, resistance is where rejections happen. You guys are hopefully very familiar with this on this YouTube channel by now. It's something that I speak about a lot on this YouTube channel. Plain and simple. It is that when you hit a support level, that is typically where you find support. And when you hit a resistance level, that is typically where you find resistance, okay? It sounds silly for me to say it, but, that's what it is. And you can choose to ignore it. That will be at your own peril. Or you can choose to pay attention to it, and your bank account might thank you for it. So, support is where support happens. Resistance is where resistance happens. And now 67K is resistance, and it's a strong level in the market. It's been drawn out by my boxes, so it's clearly strong. And so, kind of from that perspective, there is definitely some trouble ahead for Bitcoin. But it also means that if Bitcoin's able to get up above it, I mean, look at what happened here. The instant that Bitcoin got above the 67K level, it shot up by 7.5% within less than a day. And actually even less than that. I didn't even calculate it properly. It was more like 8 hours. It was like 8 hours after the breakout. We're already up to $72,000 pretty much, right? So that really tells you a lot about just how important this 67K level is. When we fell down here and we bounced back up, we bounced all the way back up to 71K. The next time, we bounced all the way back up again to 72K. In fact, we may have even gone slightly higher, right? So very, very clearly, this is an important level where when you get above it, good things happen. But if you're below it, big rejections can take place, right? So we really need to keep that in mind as we continue to move forward here. But of course, it does mean that everything can be back on if we recover back above this particular resistance level. We have a lot of people talking about food in this live chat now. Don't tempt me because I'm hungry. But yeah, I think that's important. And of course, yeah, on the flip side here, we've got these support levels. Now, look, if we lose 60K with conviction, I do think that, there's a much bigger drop to be coming, and that would probably take us down to the low 50s. Purely because, again, it's the exact same thing I was already drawing for you guys. And if we take a fixed range volume profile, you'll see the same thing. There are big valleys here. If we lose this level, right? I mean, like, there's a big spike taking place here. And below the spike, you've got a massive valley on the VPVR here until you get even lower down to 52K. And I can do this on a much larger time frame, and you will see the exact same thing, right? Take a look at this. Let's go for all of this price action, anything above 20K up to now, and you will start to see it's slightly different on this chart, but it's still the same thing. Right? Take a look at this. It's gonna get a bit confusing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some lines down. I'm gonna put one line here, another one here, and another one here. And I'm just going to make them red because otherwise it might be a bit confusing what I'm talking about. Okay, and this is very clearly, I'm putting a line at each of the spikes. Now let's go ahead and remove the fixed range volume profile and come back. And very clearly, what was I saying, ladies and gents? When you lose these levels, whether it's this level here or this level here, it's the same thing. When you lose these levels, there's a big valley down. In this case, even lower, down to $48,000 is where we actually see the big spike. I believe there was a smaller spike up here at about 52, but it really just proves my point, which is that if we do start to lose this low 60, high 50K level with conviction, this is definitely going to be something that drops significantly lower, in my opinion. And that is something I have been hoping for since before we even got up here. I've really been looking forward to that happening. I've really been saying I want it to happen, I think it would be a great place to take some trades in the market. I think it would completely wash out all of these altcoins. I think that the opportunities would be face melting. There would be a lot of panic. And I think that, kind of from a very realistic perspective, it's also going to allow these ETF buyers to finally buy, right? I mean, the narrative for so long in this space has been that these ETF people are going to make we the people rich, and it's just silly. That's just not how it works, right? The wealthy people with legacy finance and all that stuff, they don't come in and make the poor man rich. It just never fucking happens. It's never happened before. It ain't gonna happen now. That's just my take. You can disagree with me all you like. If you do, I have a 100% effective vaccine to sell you. You'll believe anything, So I don't think that that's what we're looking at here. And what I think is, there's actually, a very nice opportunity for those ETF buyers to get some really interesting buy levels in this market where retail starts crapping themselves. In fact, this comment section has already proven a lot of what I'm saying, because we've had people asking with, some genuine panic here, is the bull market over? Are we entering a bear market? Stuff like that. And we're down by like $9,000 from the all-time high. And it's nothing. I mean, the drop is nothing. It's just not a big deal at all. But people are worrying. Now, when we're still in the range, all right? We're still above 60K. We haven't even lost two of our really important support levels. We got Paul Andrew in the chat saying it's over. You know what I mean? This is how people are feeling right now. And that's, we haven't even seen a big crash yet. So if it does happen, you can already start to gain a sense of how much more panic there will be if we actually start losing important levels. If we actually start collapsing below 60K, because not only are we going to drop probably significantly lower, but it's probably also going to be quite quick.